Hello everyone, and welcome to our training today on preventing and responding to emergencies due to food or an allergic reaction, otherwise known as food allergies. My name is Timothy Smith and I am your trainer today. Before we get started, let's just go over some helpful tips so that you will be successful with this training and any training that you complete with timthetrainer.com. This training has been approved by the Texas Early Childhood Professional Development System, so please make sure that your personal TechPeds Workforce ID number is entered on your Tim the Trainer portal before you complete your assessment. That way your certificate will automatically be uploaded into your personal TechPeds account. If you have any questions about the material covered in this training, or if you need more information beyond the scope of the training material, there are 3 different ways that you can reach out to us. On our website, timthetrainer.com, in the upper right-hand corner, you can send us a direct message, or you can email us or call us, once again, with any question that you have about this training or any training that we offer, or if you need more information beyond the scope of the training material. We are available to answer your questions and give additional information in a timely manner. Last thing, per the child care minimum standards, trainings must be completed in a reasonable amount of time. Meaning, you should not be completing more clock hours of training in a single day than the total number of hours worked in that day. Definitely, you cannot complete more clock hours of training than there are in a waking day. We always want to make sure that you are in compliance with child care regulations, Texas Rising Star, and other regulatory agencies. Let's go ahead and get started with our training on food allergies. Currently, in the United States of America, 1 in 13 children have a food allergy. So when you take this data and you apply it to your classroom, if you have a typical pre-K classroom, then you usually have at least one or 2 children that have a food allergy. If you're looking at your overall program, that's numerous children that's going to have a food allergy that has been diagnosed by their healthcare professional in your program. In order to keep these children safe and to prevent allergic reactions to food, you need to be fully aware of all of the children in your program that have a food allergy and how to properly respond to any type of reaction. It's not about just knowing the children that are in your classroom, but knowing all of the children and their allergies and the appropriate way to respond. You never know when you may be asked to step into another classroom, to cover a nap room, or have a child come into your classroom for a visit. It is your responsibility to know every single child and the food allergies that they have. When we have roughly 6 million children in the United States of America that have been diagnosed with a food allergy, we have a big responsibility to make sure that they are safe and healthy and the appropriate response is given in emergency situations. Not only is this training required for all new employees working for a licensed child care center, home, or registered home, it is also a training that is required every single year. That's how important this is. We always have to stay on top of food allergies and how to care for the children. When you take a look at the child care minimum standards here in Texas, it's going to talk about the food allergy emergency plan and what needs to be included. A food allergy emergency plan is an individualized plan prepared by the child's health care professional that includes a list of each food that the child is allergic to, possible symptoms if exposed to a food on the list, and the steps to take if the child has an allergic reaction. This is not only a requirement right here in the state of Texas, this is a federal requirement that all licensed child care facilities in the United States of America has to follow. The one thing that I really want you to look at right here is the food allergy emergency plan is an individualized plan prepared by the child's health care professional, and it has to be signed by the child's health care professional. So a parent or guardian cannot dictate a child's food allergy. It has to be signed off on by a healthcare professional. That is really important for you to understand right there. All right. When must you have the food allergy emergency plan? You must have the food allergy emergency plan for each child with a known food allergy that has been diagnosed with a healthcare professional. It needs to be signed and dated by the parent, and this is a document that you have to keep on file at your facility. Anytime there is an update to the food allergy emergency plan, you must get that update from the parent or guardian as soon as possible. If you're unable to get the update from the parent or guardian, then it may be that the child is suspended from your program until that imperative information is given to you. So the requirements for the food allergy emergency plan is that it must be posted in prominent areas for adults to view when entering your program. If you are in a situation where your food or your center does not prepare food, maybe you require parents to send in lunches or snacks. This is very common in faith-based agencies, some part-time programs, hourly care programs. This is something that we see quite often. If this is the case for your school, the list of food allergies need to be posted so that parents know what they can and cannot pack in their individual child's lunch. We don't want cross-contamination in the classroom. We don't want a parent sending in something that another child might be allergic to that could cause a reaction. So it is very important that parents receive a list that you have the following food allergies in your program. And at this point, you're not necessarily going to disclose the child's name. We want to respect privacy, but it would be something as simple as, we currently have the following food allergies in our school. We have a nut, we have an egg, we have a red dye. So parents know when packing lunches and snacks not to send those items. Now, when we talk about the food allergy emergency plan, the food allergy emergency plan will have the child's name with a current photograph of the child, and that will be posted where food is prepared and where food is served. So this will need to be posted in two different places. If you have a kitchen where food is being prepared, it will be posted there, and then wherever food is being served. So if you have a cafeteria, if food is being served in the classroom, wherever it may be, that's where it needs to be posted. If you are taking children on field trips, so they are leaving your premises and going outside of your facility, then when you are going on a field trip, you must also take a copy of the food allergy emergency plan with you on those particular field trips. Even if you're not planning to serve a lunch or a snack while on that field trip, the food allergy emergency plan still needs to go along with the other emergency release documentation. Now, I've got a couple of different forms that I want to share with you that will help you achieve success in preventing and responding to emergency situations regarding food allergies. On the left, you have a form that I created called a food allergy emergency plan. You can use this internally to help you manage the children that have food allergies. So once again, it's got the relevant information at the top with the child's name, their healthcare professional's name, address, and phone number. It's got what food is the child allergic to, possible symptoms if exposed to this food, and then specific steps to take if the child has allergic reaction to this food. And again, we like this to be filled out by the child's healthcare professional, telling us specifically what steps need to be taken when responding to a reaction to food allergies. Probably the most important part about this document is at the bottom, where we've created a little checklist to help you make sure that you are successful in your program. So the food allergy emergency plan has been posted in the classroom and in the food service areas. It has been posted in the food preparation area. It has been included in your emergency binder. And it is included in your binder that you may take on field trips and when transporting children. So once again, we're making sure all of our ducks are in a row and you've got this documentation in the appropriate places. On the right side of the screen, you see a copy of what's called the FAIR form. And this is a document that you can download from Child Care Regulations website. And this is what you need to be using for the child's file to be in compliance with child care regulations. Very familiar to the food allergy emergency plan that I created. So you've got the child's name, the date of birth, what food are they allergic to, as long as some other important health information. Right here you can see where you want to place a current photograph of the child so that they can be easily identified by emergency personnel in the event of a significant event. This is also going to include information about EpiPens if the child goes into an anaphylaxis shock and needs that EpiPen administered. Once again, this is a required document by Child Care Regulations that you should have in each child's file. Next, what you see is what we call an allergy alert. Okay, it's very similar to the food allergy emergency plan. And this is what we post in the classroom, in the cafeteria, and where food is prepared. You've got the child's name. You've got the food that the child is allergic to, how the child is going to react to those particular foods. And once again, you can see that is pretty specific. And what first aid steps must you take? All right. Now, when we talk about what first aid must be administered to a child that has been exposed to a food allergy, sometimes I will see allergy alerts or I will see food allergy emergency plans that will say something like, contact parent, call the front desk, give an alternate food. Y'all, that is not first aid, okay? So when you go and you review your food allergy emergency plans that are posted in your facility, if you see comments like call parent or contact front desk, you know, I've got some work to do. We need to get those updated so very specific first aid instructions are given for that particular type of reaction. We want to make sure, once again, that we are setting everybody up for success and that the children are safe. Listed below are some very common food allergies that we typically see with young children. Now, definitely, this is not a complete list of food allergies. These are your most common food allergies. These common food allergies change all the time, all right? They're constantly being updated. But for many years now, this is your most common. Eggs, peanuts, different types of peanuts and nuts, chocolate, fish, cow's milk, wheat, strawberry, soybean, corn, shellfish. But again, we're starting to see red dye popping up on the list. Potatoes. I've actually seen an increased number of food allergy emergency plans with potatoes. Different things like that. This list could constantly change. But these are your most common. Once again, it is your responsibility to make sure that you're aware of all of the children in your program that may have a food allergy and what those food allergies specifically are. As an administrator and as a leader, If you start to see a large number of children with a specific food allergy in your program, it may be that you make an amendment to your menu and completely eliminate those items from being served if you start seeing a large number of children with a specific food allergy. What do we typically see when a child is having a reaction to a particular food? The most common side effects is that their lips, tongue, and mouth will begin to swell. Excessive diarrhea or vomiting may occur. Rashes will start to appear all over the body. And in extreme situations, children may have a hard time breathing. The child may also complain of a sore throat or a runny nose in some of these situations. When you do have an allergic reaction and an emergency takes place, first off, your composure, your self-regulation is going to be key. We want to make sure that the child stays calm, that the child knows that they're safe, right? And that everything is going to be okay. When the adult remains calm, you download calm to the child. If the adult starts panicking, then you're going to create panic within the child. Get out the emergency kit and check the appropriate dose of the EpiPen. Make sure that the EpiPen is up to date and that it's not expired. Inject the child using the EpiPen and then call 911. Call the family or guardian of the child at that point and then contact the child's physician if needed. Other things that we can do to help protect children from food allergy reactions: partner with the parents. Be consistent with communication. Have open and honest communication with the family. Stick to your policies and processes. If you have a situation where a family is trying to make their own rules, or a family is wanting you to change a particular policy or process, then that needs to be discussed with your leadership team. Keep a log of what the child is eating and keep a log of what is making the child sick. A lot of times in our early education programs, we have children that may have food allergies that have not yet been discovered and have not been diagnosed by their healthcare professional. So partnering with the parent and being able to provide this important information is going to be critical to the health and safety of the child. If you are introducing new foods, especially those of you working in older infant, toddler classrooms, it is always best to introduce one new food at a time. That way, if you do start seeing reactions to a possible food allergy or intolerance, it's going to be easier to identify the food that's causing that. Encourage the parent to consult with their healthcare professional if you do start seeing particular foods that may be making the child sick or uncomfortable. Now, there is a difference between a food allergy and a food intolerance. So when we talk about the posting requirements are specifically for food allergies. When you have a food intolerance situation, this is going to be information that is communicated between the school and the parent or guardian. And food intolerances are going to be listed on the enrollment records as a special care need. Something that I have done in my schools, when you go back to that food allergy emergency plan, we have always backed those with like red construction paper or some type of red paper, laminated them, made them look nice and professional. But if the posting was backed by red, that was an indicator that it was a food allergy. When we had situations about food intolerances or food preferences, those were backed with blue situations. So once again, it was very easy for the teacher and caregiver to identify which was a food allergy and which was a food intolerance. If you run into a situation where you're in a classroom and there is no child with a food allergy or food intolerance, I would post something that says, this classroom currently does not have any food allergies. That way it's very clear to both the teachers and caregivers working with that group, any subs or volunteers that come into the classroom, and very obvious to child care regulations that you're not missing your food allergy emergency plans. This classroom simply does not have any. So always make sure that you post that. Some common food intolerances that we see in early education classrooms. Some symptoms right here: bloating, belching, constipation, diarrhea, bad breath, stomach pain, abdominal cramping, vomiting, acid reflux or heartburn, irritability or moodiness, brain fog, headaches, itching and rashing. These are very common symptoms of food intolerances. So when you've got a child that may have one of these symptoms, once again, logging this information and kind of keeping record of the foods that you are serving each day and what type of food intolerant symptoms are you seeing is going to be able to help both you, the parent and guardian, and the healthcare professional identify which food may be causing some intolerances for that particular child. All right. Some additional resources that you may want to check out so that you can learn more about preventing and responding to emergencies due to food and allergies. There is a really great website right here, foodallergy.org, that is going to give you lots of additional resources to help you in this particular area. Of course, the Texas Department of Health and Human Services also has additional information on food allergies and allergic reactions. If you have a situation where you have a particular child that has a food allergy and you just feel like you need a little bit more information to be able to help protect that child and keep your classroom safe, take it upon yourself to do some research, right? And be able to present some recommendations to your school leadership team on how to better protect the children. Now, this is a little bit of a shorter video than what we normally do, but you're not done with this training just yet, all right? The most important part about this training on preventing and responding emergency situations due to food and allergies, okay? You're going to need to go and do a little bit of some research. So a very important assignment that I have for you after you get done watching this video: locate where the allergy alerts are located in your facility. Not just the classroom that you're being assigned in, but I recommend that you walk around and locate where they're at in each individual classroom or area. Once again, you never know when you may be asked to step into a different classroom to assist in different situations. Identify the children that have food allergies in your program. Make that name-to-face connection, all right? Get to know them. And then for each child that does have a food allergy in your program, review the first aid and the response needed for each individual child. If you have any additional questions about the individual children in your program, refer to your school's leadership team with any specific questions regarding that child. Open communication and understanding is important. Remember, in the absence of communication, negativity fills the void. Communicate, communicate, communicate. It is every single person's responsibility to know and comply with these guidelines and understand how important it is for you to be able to identify every child in your program that has a food allergy. And it is everybody's responsibility to keep them and the other children safe. All right? So go ahead and go complete your assignments. Identify where those food allergy emergency plans are located. Identify those children and review the first aid and response needed. And then you can complete your assessment for your training certificate. Thank you, everyone, for completing this training, and I look forward to seeing all of you again very soon. Bye.